Hey, what's up everybody? If you're enjoying the video, please hit that subscribe button and give a thumbs up. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. It really helps support the channel and allows me to keep creating content for you guys.
My name is Eun-ji. For 5 years my life was a pastel dream. Joon-ho, my husband, was the brush that painted it in soft hues of happiness. We met like something out of a movie, a clumsy encounter at a bookstore, books tumbling, laughter echoing. He was charming, witty, and he looked at me like I was the only constellation in his night sky. Our wedding was small, intimate, filled with promises whispered under a canopy of cherry blossoms. I truly believed we were writing our own fairy tale. Today was Joon-ho's birthday. I wanted to surprise him. A special dinner, his favorite dishes, maybe even that ridiculously expensive watch he'd been eyeing. I left work early, a flutter of excitement in my chest, picturing his surprised smile. Our apartment was usually filled with the comforting chaos of our lives, but today it was eerily quiet. Too quiet. I unlocked the door calling out, "Joon-ho? Honey, I'm home early." Silence. I shrugged it off, maybe he was still at work, just quieter than usual. I moved towards the living room, my arms laden with grocery bags for his birthday feast. And then I saw them. In our living room on our couch, tangled together like vines choking a tree. Joon-ho. And another woman. Her face was buried in his neck, her hand everywhere it shouldn't be. My breath hitched. My feet felt rooted to the floor. It was like stepping into someone else's nightmare, a grotesque parody of my own life. He looked up, startled by the sound of the grocery bags hitting the floor with a dull thud. His eyes widened for a fraction of a second, a flicker of, what? Guilt? No. It was annoyance. Pure, unadulterated annoyance at being interrupted. The woman beside him, younger with hair like spun moonlight, just blinked at me, utterly unfazed. Eun-ji? Joon-ho said my name like a question, like I was the intruder. His voice was smooth, almost casual, as if he were merely explaining a minor inconvenience. What are you doing home so early? The world tilted. Everything I thought I knew, everything I believed in started to crumble around me. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a misunderstanding. The brazenness of it, in our home, it was a slap in the face, a cold, calculated act of what? Disrespect? Contempt? I couldn't even find the words. My voice was a strained whisper. Joon-ho, who is? I gestured weakly towards the woman, my hand trembling. He sighed, a long drawn-out sigh, as if I was being difficult. This is Min-ah. He introduced her like a business acquaintance, like she was here to discuss spreadsheets. Min-ah is a colleague. A colleague. In our living room, half-dressed at 3 in the afternoon? My mind struggled to grasp the absurdity, the sheer audacity of his lie. But even in that initial shock, a cold tendril of fear began to wrap around my heart. This wasn't just cheating. This was something else. Something colder, darker. Colleague. My voice finally found some strength, laced with disbelief and a growing anger. Joon-ho, are you serious? Colleague? I gestured between them, my voice rising. Min-ah remained unervingly calm, even offering a small, almost pitying smile. It was like I was the one behaving inappropriately. Joon-ho stood up, smoothing down his shirt, his movements deliberate, practiced. Eun-ji, calm down. You're overreacting. Min-ah and I were just discussing a project. It got a little intense. He even had the gall to wink at Min-ah, who giggled softly, a sound that grated on my nerves like nails on a chalkboard. Intense. I repeated, my voice shaking. Intense enough to be half naked on our couch? In the middle of the day. I felt a wave of nausea rising in my throat. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a low, soothing tone, the tone he used when he wanted to manipulate me, when he wanted me to doubt my own senses. Eun-ji, you know you can be dramatic sometimes. You're blowing this out of proportion. It's just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? He was trying to gaslight me. Right here, right now, in front of the woman he was cheating with. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. A misunderstanding? I said, my voice trembling but firm. Joon-ho, I saw you. I saw what I saw. Tears welled up, blurring my vision, but I refused to let them fall. I needed to be strong. I needed to understand. He sighed again, louder this time, and ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of feigned exasperation. Look, Eun-ji, you're tired, you're stressed. Why don't you go lie down? I'll explain everything later when you're calmer. He was dismissing me, treating me like a child throwing a tantrum. Explain what, Joon-ho? I demanded, taking a step closer, my voice shaking with rage and hurt. Explain how colleagues intensely discuss projects like this? Explain how you can lie to my face with such ease. Minna finally spoke, her voice soft, almost melodic. Eun-ji, she said, using the Korean term for older sister, a falsely respectful address that felt like a viper's hiss. Maybe you should trust your husband. He's a good man. Good man? My blood ran cold. This wasn't just an affair. This was orchestrated. The way she spoke, the way Joon-ho acted, it was like they were reading from a script. A script I wasn't privy to. Over the next few weeks, the misunderstanding became a gaping chasm in our marriage. Joon-ho didn't apologize. He didn't deny it outright, but he never admitted anything either. He just deflected. He turned it around on me. He started questioning my sanity, my perception, my memory. Are you sure you saw what you think you saw, Eun-ji? You've been working so hard, maybe you're hallucinating. He'd say it with a concerned look, his eyes filled with fake worry, but underneath, I saw a glint of something cold, calculating. Then his mother got involved. My husband's mother, a woman who had always treated me with a thinly veiled disdain, suddenly became concerned. She called me, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Eun-ji, Joon-ho tells me you've been unwell. Perhaps you're imagining things. Men sometimes need comfort outside the home. It's a natural thing. Don't make a fuss over nothing. My own mother-in-law, defending her son's infidelity? It was unbelievable. It was suffocating. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of lies and manipulation. I tried to talk to my friends, but they were hesitant, unsure. Maybe you misunderstood, Eun-ji. Joon-ho seems like such a good husband. Everyone seemed to be on his side, or at least unwilling to believe my version of reality. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. Was I overreacting? Was I being dramatic? Maybe I had imagined it all. Maybe I was just crazy. But then one night while Joon-ho was working late, I found it. A hidden phone. Tucked away in the back of his closet in a box of old ties. It was locked, of course, but I knew the password. His birthday. Our anniversary. Simple things he'd never think I'd try. The screen lit up, revealing a torrent of messages, photos, videos. Not just with Minna. With multiple women. Dates, times, locations, explicit details. It was all there. Years of deception, laid bare in the cold light of the phone screen. And then I saw it. A message from Minna, sent months before this surprise encounter in our living room. Don't worry, Appa. I'll play my part perfectly. She'll never suspect a thing. The Korean term for older brother, used affectionately by women for older men they are close to, often romantically. But Joon-ho wasn't her older brother. And play my part? It was all planned. The surprise encounter, the brazenness, the gaslighting, it was all a meticulously crafted performance. And I was the unwitting audience, the fool in their twisted play. Rage. A white-hot, blinding rage surged through me, eclipsing the hurt, the confusion, the self-doubt. Years of suppressed anger, years of quiet resentment, years of pretending everything was okay, it all exploded. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just felt cold. Ice in my veins replacing blood. I waited for him. I sat in the living room, the hidden phone clutched in my hand, the incriminating messages burned into my memory. When he finally came home late as usual, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine, he found me waiting. He walked in, a tired sigh escaping his lips, and then he saw me. Saw the look in my eyes. He froze. The practiced smile faltered, then vanished completely. For the first time I saw a flicker of fear in his eyes. Real fear. Eun-ji? He said cautiously, his voice tight. He sensed something had changed. He sensed the shift in power. I stood up slowly, deliberately, and held out the phone. Joon-ho, my voice was low, steady, dangerously calm. Explain this. He took the phone, his eyes scanning the screen, widening in disbelief, then hardening with anger. Where did you get this? He demanded, his voice rising, the manipulative charm replaced by raw fury. You were snooping? You invaded my privacy. He was still trying to deflect. Still trying to make me the villain. But it was too late. The mask had shattered. I saw the real Joon-ho now. The cold, selfish, manipulative man he had always been hiding beneath the charming facade. Privacy. I laughed, a short, bitter sound. You talk about privacy? You who have been living a double life under my roof? You who have been lying to my face for years. My voice finally started to crack, the carefully constructed wall of composure beginning to crumble. But I wouldn't let him see me break. Not yet. So, what if I did? He spat, his face contorted with anger. What's it to you? You are always so boring. So predictable. I needed excitement. Something you could never give me. His words were like shards of glass, tearing through what little remained of my heart. Boring? Predictable? Was that all I was to him? A placeholder until something exciting came along? And Minna? I asked, my voice trembling now despite my best efforts. Was she exciting enough? Was this all planned? Were you both laughing at me behind my back? He sneered, a cruel, ugly expression I had never seen before. Minna is resourceful. And yes, we planned it. We needed a way out. Out of this suffocating marriage. Suffocating marriage? I was suffocating? He was the one who had been suffocating me with his lies, his deceit, his manipulation. The realization hit me like a physical blow. He never loved me. He never respected me. I was just a means to an end. I didn't even know what end, but it didn't matter anymore. The truth was out. The fairy tale was over. Shattered into a million pieces, leaving behind only jagged edges and bitter ashes. Get out, I said, my voice barely a whisper, but filled with a force that surprised even myself. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. He laughed, a harsh mocking sound. Your house. Eun-ji, half of this apartment is paid for with my money. And let's not forget your family's generosity that helped us in the beginning. You think you can just throw me out? His words were a cold splash of reality. He was right. Our life, our home, was intertwined with his family's influence, his money. I wasn't as free as I thought I was. He still had power. He still had control. But something inside me had snapped. Something had broken beyond repair. And in that breaking I found a strange kind of freedom. The freedom to stop pretending. The freedom to finally see him for who he truly was. And the freedom to hate him with every fiber of my being. Fine, I said, my voice cold, devoid of emotion. Keep the apartment. Keep the furniture. Keep everything. I don't want anything from you. Or your generous family. I turned and walked towards our bedroom, my legs moving mechanically as if detached from my body. He watched me, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. He expected me to fight, to beg, to plead. He didn't understand. I wasn't fighting for him anymore. I was fighting for myself. I went into the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase and started packing. Not clothes, not jewelry, not anything material. Just the essentials. My passport, my laptop, a few photographs of my grandmother. The things that truly mattered. The things that represented me, not us. He followed me, his voice softening, a hint of his old charm creeping back in. Eun-ji, wait. Let's talk. We can work this out. Maybe we can try couples therapy. He actually had the audacity to suggest couples therapy. After everything. I didn't even look at him. There's nothing to talk about, Joon-ho. There's nothing to work out. It's over. I zipped up the suitcase, the sound echoing in the silence of our shattered home. As I turned to leave, suitcase in hand, he grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly tight. You can't just leave, Eun-ji. You know you can't. Where will you go? What will you do? You have nothing without me. His words were meant to intimidate, to control me. But they had the opposite effect. They were pathetic. They were desperate. And for the first time I saw him not as a monster but as a weak, pathetic man, clinging to power that was slipping through his fingers. I looked him in the eye, my gaze unwavering, and said, I may have nothing with you, Joon-ho. But I will have everything without you. I pried his hand off my arm, his grip surprisingly weak, and walked out of the apartment. Out of our life. Out of the pastel dream that had turned into a suffocating nightmare. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have a plan. But as I stepped out into the cool night air, a strange sense of liberation washed over me. The air felt cleaner, the city lights brighter. For the first time in years I felt like I could breathe. But as I walked away, a chilling thought crept into my mind. Joon-ho's last words echoed in my ears. You have nothing without me. Was he right? Was I truly free? Or had I just escaped one cage only to walk into another? His family, their influence, their money, it was woven into the fabric of my life, deeper than I realized. And as I looked back at the building, at the darkened windows of our apartment, a shiver ran down my spine. The nightmare might not be over. It might just be beginning. And the chilling realization settled in my heart. Maybe in escaping Joon-ho, I had only truly understood the extent of the trap I was in. An escape, real escape, might be impossible after all.